the added item on goal 4.
Right. We will go back to 4.20 is of the new objectives for legislation and regulation.
Oh, I think we're starting.
What's that?
We're starting.
Oh. I wonder why we paused.
So for desired outcome, that addresses the supervision fees, but it doesn't address the supervisory compensation. So I'm assuming maybe a desired outcome would be something more like equitable pay.
Okay, equitable pay. For supervisee.
Supervising.
Yeah. Okay.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you mean by equitable pay?
Well, sometimes people might not even get paid, or maybe I know it would have to be measurable, but just something where they're getting some type of compensation versus just something like very low or minimal or nothing.
Right.
So they're not being taken advantage of.
I wonder if that, do we have that information available? I guess I wonder if that's our desired outcome. I wonder if the desired outcome might be the survey and to get data to be able to actually have that.
Okay.
Look up, you know what I mean? If we only have a 2-year,
Yeah.
we only have a 2-year window, I wonder how realistic goal that is. Yeah. Not that I disagree with you.
Well, I'm just thinking something needs to be there. If we're going to have it under the topic, it probably should also be as an outcome too, because.
Yeah.
I agree, because it could be a goal. It doesn't mean that
Sure.
it isn't happening. We're not,
Sure.
Yes.
I guess for me, I would want to know what is the current landscape, right? Like I don't even.
Assessment.
Yeah. Do we even have that information?
I mean, that could be a goal, is to kind of, like you said, maybe do an assessment to see. I don't know.
I think if all we get out of this is a good study and picture of what's going on, that's going to help us.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Okay. And Sarah's been taking notes because that sounds more like action items for this overarching objective. So she's been taking notes. And so when we meet with the board to discuss action planning for these new objectives, we'll be sure to include that. Are we good with this? Okay.
No.
Okay.
The attorney's not here.
Executive session.
We're running wild.
I'll just keep going. It's 6 o'clock.
Just keep
going.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Organizational effectiveness. There we go. All right, so these are the objectives from the strategic plan. Give you a moment to look them over.
Maybe 5.4, like at the end from stake. Oh, okay.
I can't edit it yet.
Like something about like at the end, maybe like fostering, like open.
So this one is one that's already complete.
Oh, it's complete. Okay. Okay. We just have 5.3 and 5.4. Wait, 5.1.
What about 5.1?
Yeah, I have a question about 5.1. Is within the organizational structure and all the efficiencies, are there things that need to be addressed within the staff and the organization about equity within like people feeling they have the opportunities to move up in the organization? Is that something we might need to massage into this? Because we're reviewing a current organizational structure, but do we know that there are people who are feeling that they may have barriers to advancement? And I'm not sure how to word it, but it's just like, is it like to foster upward career mobility is a very white-centric phrase. And I'm just curious if like, are there pieces of the organizational puzzle where we're not necessarily addressing it in a DEI fashion? And once again, I'm not sure how to massage this into this goal.
What do you think about, I like the operations and foster equitable.
What about equitable, to equitably foster career goals? Which may not be upward, they may be lateral.
That's another thing.
So instead of upward career mobility, it would be career goals.
I don't know if this is doing exactly what I'm trying to say, so let me try being clear again. What could be the blind spots that are not being seen within the structure of the BBS organization that might be having people constantly looking elsewhere? As in like, oh, I don't feel like my differing ability is being used in a way that's helpful, or I'm feeling there are language barriers that aren't being addressed, or I feel like my community-based things that would make it hard for me to work efficiently within the organization. So once again, I don't have the words for this. I just got this concept floating around here. Like, what are we missing?
John, if I can add in a thought, don't we have to look at the structure in which civil servants are promoted, right? Don't we have to look at how?
I mean, we're pretty restricted as to
Right, our hands are tied here. Yeah.
But what about? I'm
Well, I
thinking
mean,
kind
there
of
are things that, like, we were talking about mentorship earlier.
Mhm,
There are things that don't, move things from a external personnel structure point that could give people help in understanding how they can move up and develop in the organization. So.
Right. Isn't a lot of testing involved? I'm sorry.
I know
it's testing.
They have to be able.
Yeah.
If you're not a good test taker, you may not.
But like within the organization, I mean, even regardless of upward mobility, even regardless of if you want to move to a different position, making sure that in your position that you're working at now, you're saying,
Like an example might be like if I'm not a native English speaker, am I somehow assuming it's a barrier for me to do something else? Even though it's not being stated, is that something that's laying underneath that might be affecting people's, like you can review the structure, but do we need to find a way to find those little nuggets that may be hampering people from saying, oh, I could apply for that advancement. Oh, I could move into that other part of the organization. Once again, it's all kind of iffy for me, but.
No, I know what you're saying. I mean, it's that, well, first of all, I like the career mobility. It's really opening up conversations with each individual staff member to say, where do you want to be? What are your, in proper management, really understanding your staff member and then seeing how to get them to where they, first of all, that they have all the tools to do their job. And if they want to do something else, let's work on figuring out a plan. But I know what you're saying. How do we put that?
I don't know, we kind of have something like that with the IDPs,
individual development plans that we have for our staff, that you meet and you go over these things here to kind of talk about whether it's career goals or areas of improvement which they need, which is a yearly thing that we do.
I was just gonna say maybe adding among diverse staff or even culturally sensitive staff or something. Because, I mean, generally men are promoted more than women, right? And I mean, there's a whole lot of other, like you said, if there's an English, not a English as a second language speaker, it might be a little more challenging, but anyway, maybe even just having access to what are ways to develop, like you were saying. You know.
Or like even someone with a disability, right? Feeling like they can, you know, be a.
I like the development among staff.
I'm thinking of the word like to like foster, but also like promoting.
Well, I'm sorry, that foster, I was like fostering, because what is really what we would have to do, or what, I mean, should be done is making sure that you're fostering open communication. Review current organizational structure, ensure efficient operations to equitably foster, promote. Oh, wow, okay, you're typing away.
Cool.
So, John, are you saying maybe the lack of their development is a barrier to them?
Well, just making sure that I think
Having
like
access to
we might be blind to it, or that they're going about their daily work, and I want that position. Why can't I get that position? That stuff. It's like, why is that? Maybe, and not wanting to speak about that, or not wanting to open up communication on that.
That's definitely
Yeah.
yes. Rather than bottom up, I'm responsible for figuring it out. A top down, hey, I want to let you know that this particular thing is open to all, and you told me once you do this thing, we need to consider bringing you in. So it's not like I have to, it's my job to figure it all out, but that the information is presented to me in a way where I'm seen.
Like they are nurturing all the staff and like supporting their growth, right? Like I hear like leadership and development, like training opportunities, right? Across the board.
We're getting a lot in there right now.
Yeah, it's also something that we can whittle down offline, but I think we have the big concepts that we kind of want to capture in this one. Yes. Okay. So Trisha will work offline to kind of whittle that one down, so it's not so wordy.
Can I ask just one question before I hand it upwards? Do you guys, would you mind? I kind of like just career mobility. I don't know if that is, because like you said, it might be a career like they're in our enforcement unit, but they really have a passion for licensing and they want to get over to licensing. Well, how do we make that happen?
Yeah.
You get rid of tough word. Okay.
So maybe that development piece becomes career mobility and development. Because we've got and development parentheses above us there. I would keep that career massage. I'm going to play with this and make it sound official.
Okay.
And once again, we draft form, so we'll definitely come back.
We got time to work on it.
One more
goal.
Thank you. I got it.
Where's your green card?
Okay, so I'm gonna move over to the other one that is open for revision. 5.2, collaborate with BCA's Organizational Improvement Office to review internal processes. Was there any? This one doesn't seem like one that really needs for.
It actually is done.
It's done.
Yeah, we're going to be reporting on that tomorrow. So, well, the report is done.
Gotcha.
The collaboration with BCA.
All right. Were there any other new objectives that you would want to add under organizational effectiveness, other than what we kind of already have? Yes, no? Good? All right.
Sorry. I'm thinking of what Marlon said, and is the, what do you call it, the feedback, the
individual development plan?
so your IDP, is that a thing that's structured by the state and is done formulaically? Or do you have any leeway to develop it?
The state does have a form, and it honestly, the form, yeah, it's utilized, but it definitely can be done any which way we want. And I've actually, we haven't really implemented the new form, but
If there is any leeway, and remember, this is just an idea, you can investigate and find out. I mean, IDPs are one of the most stressful things that any employee goes through. So why address it? Because it's a high stakes, high stress experience for most people. And some of those high stakes and high stress could be based on barriers that we're looking at today.
So, how can the board address or solve this?
What does IDP stand for?
Individual development.
Oh, okay.
It's basically their yearly review.
Okay.
And there's two parts to it. It's like a review of how you did, and then it gives you a portion where it's what goals do you set for yourself this year? What do you, what do you want to get to? So, I think maybe how we can solve that is looking at the form itself is typical state form. and I think there's a way that we could actually craft it almost, even do honestly even do a survey or a review or something or something like that.
From a point of cultural humility, I would include.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I'm considering 360 reviews.
Do that and figure out like what their needs are instead of just telling them. They can tell us what they need.
You aren't doing that?
Our doors are open.
And I think that might tie into 5.1, the piece we just worked on so deeply, that if that IDP was massaged, it might make 5.1 even more powerful.
I will say, we're putting those services on pause just because our workload is a bit too much, but we do offer Manager 360 and employee engagement.
I mean, you're putting in a pod. I wanted to do that. I've been wanting to really do one. I was almost going to do my own, actually. It's like
you can reach out to our manager and then she can figure out where we can fit it in the workload. But it is a little bit on pause right now while we try to get through everything else.
Thank you.
All right. And what would the desired outcome for this one be?
I think definitely have better employer morale and actually better for also, help the organization.
Retention maybe?
We don't have a problem. Retention's fine, but no, retention, yes. Employee satisfaction and retention. And then also, if it's self-serving for the board, better, I don't know. It's a better organization, a healthier organization.
Professional development. Right?
Health organ.
Healthier organ.
That too.
That's late in the day.
Okay, throw that in there.
That's good.
Yep, agree.
Public comment?
Public comment. Moderator, can we see if there's any public comment online for goal number 5?
Certainly. And if anyone would like to make a comment on the organizational development goal area, you may look for the question mark icon and click that. Type the word comment and click send. Or you can look for the hand icon and click that to raise your hand. Are there any comments on the organizational development portion? And I do not see any requests for comment. Shall I close that feature?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Goal 6.
I was going to say one last thing about 5. Do you guys do like exit interviews and ask questions to people leaving about their experience?
We could definitely do more. I mean, more robust exit interviews.
Yeah. Ask questions about related to what we're talking about today to get a real feel.
I mean, most of the time people leave our organization for promotion. I don't think we've had anybody really long. So,
oh, I see.
Yeah, it's kind of, but that's not to say they don't have things to say. I mean, and I think when you're leaving an organization, you're more willing to speak out. So that's good.
Okay.
So we're on the last goal area outreach presentation. So we'll show you the PDF first, so you can look at all the objectives.
Just a quick question. I thought I was remembering one of our ones from earlier on, we had talked about we thought would go under 6 really well. Do you remember?
That's copied on here.
You got
Do
it?
we
Okay.
wanna good at the time?
Marketing, I think we wanted to get part of that in there too.
Do we want to jump straight to that? Do we want to jump straight to this one, or did we want to edit any of the others' objectives?
Can we look at the objectives first?
Yeah. I was just actually asking for information because my brain was like, it's late in the day.
Yes, it is. It is. Alright, so those are the objectives in the goal area, outreach and education.
So a word I might like to add to 6.1 is create a more robust and responsive consumer and licensing education program.
Hold on, we have to get to that part. And if one is complete, it's already completed as of 6.2 and 6.4. So,
So what's open?
what's open is
3.
Can we keep 6.1 open? I think 6.1. I think that's kind of, I might have, the chart I sent you might have looked like it's completed,
but it's not. Okay.
Yeah, no, there's a lot more work we can be doing on that.
Okay, so all right, let us add a slide.
For 3.
Did you mix that up?
Sure.
You have to-
Add
Is that where you
responsive.
want
Yeah,
it?
she just got it. That's in 6.1.
So we're modifying 6.3 and 6.1? Okay.
I was thinking for 6.3, like at the end, like an activities that like capture like a broad and inclusive reach.
You say broad and inclusive reach.
With my New York accent, it sounds like a boy.
I love it when it slips out. It doesn't do it very often.
No, I think if you're broad, this is supporting you. Type it on your mind. Yes. Okay. How do people feel about 6.3? Does that change?
I have a question on what that means.
Okay.
Actually. Are you thinking that want the engagement to be broad and, or,
Like that we can measure that we actually reached out to like a diverse, audience, that it's not, because like if schools from different socioeconomic stats, like from different neighborhoods, right? SCS
yeah,
of students, all of that.
I hear what Steve's saying, and I hear the concept you're putting forward. I think we need to find more specific language to what actually, because in those goals, they have to have actual items written later on. And
I think the syntax of it is kind of confusing to me.
Okay.
Let's raise awareness of the board's role and activities that capture broad. We're not explaining what activities we want to include a broad and inclusive. We want our engagement to be broad and inclusive. And what we're trying in 6.1 is to make sure that they understand, to give a better understanding of what our role is. How do we, enforcement, how do we license people? How do we, what are we here for? Does that make sense? Instead of,
the 6.3 is how we're
Increase for
in educating the world who the BBS is.
Mhm.
So,
But the world has to be the world, right? So
Yeah.
we're making sure that we're speaking to the world, not
Yeah.
just like a select group. And I don't like, I'm not saying we're not doing that now, but
no, and I think it's just the way it's written for me. It's
yeah.
So it's the organization to raise awareness of the board's role and activities. That's what we're trying to alert them to.
how about increase and diversify board engagement?
That I think because when I read that, it's the activities that capture a broad. It's like I'm not explaining to them the board's activities that capture a broad and inclusive reach. I'm going to be explaining to them.
Oh, okay.
See what I mean? That's what. I'm sorry. It's kind of, but I see what you're saying.
I know, this is also your baby, right? So like, I'm messing around with it. But that's more clear and simple.
Mhm.
The answer.
So we good in
That looks
6.3
good.
now?
Mhm.
Green card and 6.1, are we good with that as well? The green cards, okay. So, we do have, this as a proposed added objective. Why would we address it?
It goes back to what Abigail was saying.
Okay,
Yeah,
to broaden,
our reach,
the board's reach,
yeah.
okay?
And build trust with diverse
Mhm.
communities.
And build trust with diverse communities,
Mhm.
okay? And then, desired outcome,
Increased work. I mean, hopefully part of that's, the increase in workforce, not
Diverse
just the
workforce.
increase of it, the diversity of the workforce is
okay,
a big thing.
increase diverse workforce, okay?
That can respond, I don't know how to put it, but culturally, because that's the other, is really, trying to get, professionals from those communities that are
Right.
really, yeah,
People need to see
Exactly.
people that look like them.
yeah.
If they're going,
So is that increased engagement?
I
Once again, so it's a back and forth conversation, not just a one-way.
Well, I think the outcome, at least for me in the licensing perspective, would be if we're reaching out, we're doing this engagement, it's better, we're able to engage in communities that are missed, that aren't, really thinking about therapy as a profession. We get out there, they start seeing that this is a possibility for them. Then once that they go through the process of becoming licensed, then they can actually go back to their community and actually engage more. I guess there you're talking about engagement. So, yeah.
Like, for me, this goes back to Eleanor's piece. If it can't just be a top-down conversation, it has to be engagement.
Relationship building.
Yeah, relationship building.
Like it's all.
That's exactly what.
Can we make it underserved communities? The communities that are missed is othering and it's.
We also heard relationship building.
Okay, so, relationship building. Any other additions or thoughts? Okay, all right. Unless someone has any other objectives to add, we would be done.
Do you need public comment?
We do need public comment. Thank you very much.
Are we public comment?
Yeah.
Thank you. If this is DCA moderator, if anyone would like to make a comment on the outreach and communication goal area, you can look for the question mark icon and click that. Type the word comment in the text box and click send, or you can look for the hand icon and click that to raise your hand. And each speaker will have 2 minutes with a 30-second warning. Are there any comments on this final goal area? I do not see any requests for comment. Shall I close that feature?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
I think it's like, are they in overtime right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
Yeah, so, thank you for your participation today.
Thank you.
The next step, we'll write a draft that, we'll send to the board to look at, then you will get a chance to look at it before it's approved, and then we'll do action planning with staff for any new objectives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's, Sarah brought that up. So we have kept track of the objectives that you've added. You've added six more objectives. So with that in mind, do you think that you need to extend the lifespan as much as you can, or are you good with it?
I would say not at this moment because we get to review it again, right? And then just something may come off, right? Or condensed or
I would
streamlined.
say, can we wait till the draft?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for your participation.
Oh, thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you.
Guiding us.
Thanks for hanging in.
Great, so concluding, thank you all for participating. Now in recess until tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. And he's gonna make me do it.
Okay. This